What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Now, you guys know I am a Solana fanboy, and so because of that, I follow all of the Solana news outlets, and I pay very close attention to what happens on the Solana ecosystem. Now, one little hack or a little trick that I've had that has allowed me to find some different cryptos that do usually pretty damn well is finding the different ones that are supported by Solana itself, the Solana Foundation, the Solana team itself, whether it's different grants or whether it's different scholarships, just things of that nature, right? And generally, the ones that are backed by Solana just have a little bit of better momentum on Solana's chain itself. And so today we're going to be starting a little bit of a series where we talk about some of the ones that are backed by Solana, the Solana Foundation, and things of that nature. And we're actually going to be starting with a crypto called TARS protocol. Now, what you can see back in August 11th of 2023, the TARS protocol received a Solana AI grant from the Solana Foundation. Now, this is of course a company that did a launch on Solana, and they have done extremely well since then. Currently sitting at a $10 million market cap with over $3 million of 24-hour volume, which is pretty damn high, especially as of recently. This thing has been performing exceptionally well, especially since its CoinMarketCap listing. As you can see here, of course, at one point getting as low as 0.03, so right under 4 cents. Let's call it about 3.5 cents, working its way all the way up currently to 8.5 cents, all the way at one point up over to 11 cents, doing pretty damn good. Okay, and so I want to talk a little bit about who they are today, why I think that they are pretty damn good, why I did add them to my own portfolio, and much more. And so with that said, let's get started kind of just getting an idea of who they are and why the Solana Foundation did find them good enough to back in the first place. So what we can see is that TARS is an AI-driven, scalable Web3 modular infrastructure platform, enabling organizations and individuals to effortlessly transition from Web 2 to Web 3. Now, what they're doing basically is they're creating a bunch of different utility-based products and services, a dashboard and a platform that will allow people to take advantage of Web 3 and AI at the same time. Now, what you can see here, some of the different things that they are creating is a claimer, a smart SAFT product, a Web3 staff authenticator, which is something I've never seen before, and an AI hub. Now, I'm sure you guys will understand the AI hub a little bit easier, so let's actually start at the AI hub just so you can get a feel for what this is. Now, what the AI hub is basically is dependent on the amount of different types of their token that you do hold or a certain crypto that they need. You can access certain different AI tools, basically. So they have GPT-4, text to image, video to anime, video object replacement, colorization, a whole bunch of different products in which you can access that are AI based. Now, you guys know this is all the hype recently. This is something that other companies have done, which I will say, but they are doing it extremely well in the sense that it's a lot more professional, and it does allow people to use a lot of these different things for free, especially over the coming weeks and coming months when they do continuously launch more and more models. And so because of that, this is the easiest one to understand for what they're doing, in my opinion. Very simple, very easy, very smooth, of course. And I do like the fact that they are integrating their own token within the ecosystem as well. So I think that's pretty damn cool. Now, going back, of course, to their main website here, on top of that, as I mentioned before, they have a couple other products. So let's talk about how these products work. Now, before we talk about the products themselves, actually, one thing that I will say is that they are going to be taking the revenue generated from these products and be re-injecting it back into the company, whether that's through the token, whether that's through the community, or whether that's through development and expansion. And of course, you guys know that I find it to be very important that if you are a utility-based company, that you get as far away from the Ponzi-nomics model as possible, which is basically just being fully dependent on volume to generate your company revenue. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're creating different products and services in which they can then make money or monetize, basically, and then use the monetization efforts to then generate revenue, use that revenue re-injected back into the token, the company, and the project itself, which will then allow the company to grow itself without the need of token volume or something of that nature. And so because of that, that is why these different products are so important. I forgot to make that clarification. Now, what we can see here is that there are going to be, again, a couple different products, which we just talked about the first one. Now, they have something called TARS Space. Now, let's kind of zoom this bad boy in here a little bit if I can. There we go. Now, with the TARS protocol, Web3 startups, okay, so this is the TARS space, the TARS protocol. With the TARS protocol, Web3 startups will be able to create a personalized branded portal called Space, where they can easily present their information, influence, and business scopes. TARS Space works as a trusted business deck and with index tags that suit the needs and reach target audience, and it provides trustable on-chain testimonials to prove the influence in Web3. Space owners will be able to launch these BaaS, short for Blockchain as a Service products, including Staff Authenticator, Claimer, Smart SAFT, and more through, of course, Tar Space. And so this is basically going to be like kind of like your Tinder profile, right? As a company, this is a place where you can start providing the information about yourself, giving the people all of the audited necessary information on which you will want them to see, of course, if they're going to make the decision to invest in you or not. Then they can go on and like it and stuff like that, kind of like a social profile, which I think is pretty cool. Now, speaking of the claimer, in which they did just mention in that post, what we can see here is that there is a claimer DApp. Okay, here we go. Let me get that. There we go. They say that Claimer is a DApp that allows anyone to create time-release token vesting, lock token LPs, or distribute NFTs based on the time event. Whitelist users will be able to claim their specified tokens accordingly to custom token vesting schedules. Now, this is important. The reason this is important, that's why my laptop died. Okay, or not? Sorry, not my laptop. My keyboard died. I was like, why isn't it changing? But anyway, so the reason why something like this is so important, especially going forward, is due to the fact that whenever you have, say, teams, okay, or influencers, or just community members who are like a very important part of the community, oftentimes they're given tokens or they're given allocation within the company itself, obviously. And you obviously don't want to just release them just to those people. You don't want to just give someone 1% for them to be able to sell on the open market. And so there's something called vesting, which is the gradual release of those tokens for that team member or community member or influencer, whatever it may be. And obviously in order to do that, you could do it manually, which is you just send it to them. But oftentimes companies like to use more automatic features, which basically allows you to be able to go in and have some type of smart contract or protocol release those tokens to them on a gradual or consistent or vested schedule. And so obviously putting them in a position in which they can get their tokens just in a lot more kind of linear way, or sometimes alinear, whatever. And so because of that, the claimer is something that I think will be extremely important, quite simply because people just need them, people like to use them, and people like to have different options. So I do think that that's a good idea. Okay, now going forward, okay, what we can see here is that they have the smart SAFT. So what they say here is that at TARS, anyone can effortlessly launch a smart SAFT to host the token sales for fundraising investment. There are whitelist, public, hidden types as options in each smart SAFT for the space owner. Now, this is rather similar to what we just spoke about with the vested tokens. It's kind of the step before it. So a SAFT is basically an agreement in which you're going to sign with the company whenever you do agree to get some of the token allocations like we just mentioned. Now, it's like a contract. Generally, it's a contract that says, hey, for this amount of tokens or this percentage of tokens, I will do these different things, okay? And so, of course, the SAFT is just the contract that gets you into the agreement to be able to get a vested schedule or token allocation, in which you will then need the claimer to get your tokens from, if that makes sense. And so what they're doing is, generally, that's just a PDF that people send each other, like a contract that you sign on the computer or in person, then you just give it back to them. Whereas what they're doing is they're trying to decentralize it and make it more on-chain based, which I think is interesting because I've actually not seen that before. So that's interesting, and especially moving forward into like the more meme coin side of things. Okay, now going forward, another thing in which I have not seen before is a Web3 staff authenticator. Let me try to zoom this in just a little bit here and see if this works. Okay, so it says the Web3, look, let's do it like this. Here we go. Okay, my keyboard died, so we're just going to work with it. So it says Web3 Staff Authenticator is a portable tool for verifying the authenticity of an organization's staff identities. Space owners at TARS will be able to effortlessly manage staff identity data for their organizations and get a dedicated URL for the public to check the authenticity to avoid scams. Certain features will include a dedicated URL for the authenticity check, support for all social source verifications, so Telegram, Twitter, Discord, and more, bulk add and delete staff identities only by the organization owner, and encrypted stored data on the IPFS to prevent tampering and attack. Now, I actually do find this interesting, and I've not seen a solution to this issue before personally within this space as of now. Okay, what I'm talking about is the fact that, there we go. What I'm talking about is the fact that, you know, oftentimes we see people, like certain companies get outed because they're just like scammers, and they'll put fake pictures up or fake identities up to pretend that they are someone that they clearly are not. And so oftentimes they get found out because someone's like, hey, I found this picture of your team member on Google as some random stock photo. So why are they put here as if this is your team member? And the team's usually just gonna make up some bullshit excuse like, oh, it was an accident or something like that. Whereas what this does is it starts to dive deeper into the authenticity and being able to check that certain identities and people are who they say they are, not only across one platform, but across multiple platforms, multiple social platforms, things of that nature. And I think that that's important because it starts to help provide a little bit more safety, especially for the people who are going to be using the TARS protocol if they are doing their investing, right? Say, for example, example, you go to a space, you can check to see if the team is authentic. You can check to see what the different vesting allowances are. You can check all of these things here in one place, which is starting to open up the door for a much more safe investment experience for users, which I think is something that they are very big on, and I think that they find it very important. Now, while we are talking about the importance of safety, one thing that we can see is that they actually did go in and get their CerTic done, their CerTic audit done. Now, you can see here that they got a 76.49 category score, which isn't bad at all. It's in the top 30th percentile, but at the end of the day, there were a couple small things, and most of them in which they were addressed by them, and you can go in on their website and check these things out. I didn't see anything here that I thought was super worrying or like an issue or anything of that nature. I thought that it was pretty good. Now, in addition to this, they actually did go ahead and get their gold badge over on Twitter as well. Just, small things that are important in terms of being able to just get your credibility up and get, people a little bit more trusting in you, if that makes sense. And so because of all of these things and because of the approach they're taking, creating these products, using these products to generate revenue, use that revenue to continue to expand the company, that's a strong company. And that's a part of the reason why I believe that the Solana Foundation did believe in them so early on, and a part of why they did invest into them with that grant. And so because of that, of course, it's doing extremely well. It's really started to do even better over the last 4 to 5 days. And so it's surely one that I'm going to add to my portfolio after this video does go live. And I will actually update you pretty soon here on more things that they have coming forward, especially if you do want to see it. And so with that in mind, of course, I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. If you did, you can always let me know easily and simply by smashing the like button and subscribing to the channel if you are new. And I will see you all next time. Peace out, everybody.